the Ikhwan. With Asir now part of his dominion, there was nowhere left for the Saudis to expand. King Abdul Aziz had already struck deals with the British and Hashemite rulers of Iraq and Transjordan, defining their borders to the northeast and northwest respectively. To the east was Kuwait, which was still a British protectorate, and the Persian Gulf. To the west was the Red Sea. South of Asir was Yemen, which was also a British protectorate. With no more lands to conquer, it was time for Abdul Aziz to settle into the role of statesman. Unfortunately, his Ikhwan warriors were not satisfied with this new reality. The Ikhwan were raised with the ideology of continuous warfare against both Muslims and non-Muslims until the whole world followed true Islam. They were not content to return to their settlements, raise families, and peacefully live out the rest of their lives. The Ikhwan believed jihad, armed struggle in the path of Allah, was all there was to life, and death in the path of Allah led to eternal paradise. They were starting to have second thoughts about their leader, King Abdul Aziz. They did not like the recent changes he had made and how he tried to restrain their pillaging. They did not like that he allowed the elites of Mecca to run the city nearly autonomously. Those same elites had allowed all sorts of bid'ah, or religious innovations, to go on in the holy city. They did not like that he stopped them from destroying all those blasphemous graves and tombs in Medina. They did not like that he was negotiating and making deals with the British, who worshipped Jesus, ate pork, and drank alcohol. They did not like that he allowed his sons to travel outside of the kingdoms, visiting deviant Muslim nations like Egypt and Kuwait. Some of them even went to England, the home of the pork-eating, Jesus-worshipping British. Now in his early 50s with declining eyesight, the Ikhwan believed their leader had gone soft from the riches and glory their swords had brought him. If King Abdul Aziz would not continue the jihad against the Jesus worshippers and their deviant Muslim puppets, then the Ikhwan would do it themselves. In September 1927, a group of Ikhwan crossed the border into Iraq and attacked a British oil drilling station, killing all of its workers. Furious, the British government demanded Abdul Aziz do something about the Ikhwan. In the meantime, the British rebuilt the drilling station and fortified it with warplanes, soldiers, and armored vehicles. The Ikhwan continued to raid, often attacking helpless villages or caravans, most of whom lived under Saudi protection. With the Ikhwan becoming an international embarrassment, King Abdul Aziz gave them an ultimatum: settle down or face his wrath. In their hearts of hearts, the Ikhwan were still Bedouins who lived by raiding towns and other Bedouins. When Abdul Aziz settled them into towns and unleashed them on his enemies, he redirected this natural tendency of theirs, but he did not remove it. The Ikhwan ignored King Abdul Aziz's warnings and continued to raid and plunder across northwest Arabia. They believed he had lost his warrior spirit and was too soft to attack them. And even if he did, they were confident Allah would bring them victory. In March 1929, King Abdul Aziz led an armored unit to confront a group of Ikhwan at Sabila, about 180 miles north of Riyadh. He had armored cars, machine guns, and a promise of aerial support from the British. Abdul Aziz hoped this show of force would encourage the Ikhwan to back down and negotiate. The Ikhwan agreed to negotiate, but they did not back down. When it became clear nothing was going to change, Abdul Aziz ordered the attack. The Ikhwan fought using traditional tactics and weapons. They had rifles and guns, but not much else. They rode into battle against Abdul Aziz on horses and camels. The Ikhwan were massacred at Sabila, and it was not even close. Abdul Aziz's victory was so devastating, most of the other Ikhwan bands in Arabia laid down their arms and agreed to submit. But this state of affairs did not last long. Within a few months, the arguments, bad blood, and disagreements brought the Ikhwan face to face with Abdul Aziz again. Throughout 1929, Saudi forces clashed with the Ikhwan. The Saudis, with their modern weapons and British support, won every single time. By the end of the year, most of the Ikhwan had been destroyed. On January 28, 1930, Faisal ad-Dawish, chief of the Mutera clan and the leader of the Ikhwan, surrendered to Abdul Aziz, who had him imprisoned for the rest of his life. The final threat to Saudi hegemony was removed. In September 1932, King Abdul Aziz ibn Saud unified the kingdom of Najd and the kingdom of the Hijaz into a single state, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.